Am I the a-hole for laughing at my brother-in-law's income? I, 35 female, met my husband Ray, 35 male, about 12 years ago. He was a junior engineer at the time, but he was perceptive, considerate, funny, and just overall my ideal guy. The only thing I didn't like was the way he and his brother Pete, now 38 male, interacted. Pete loves to talk about how successful he is and his friends were, and undermines Ray's accomplishments as that's good for your age. Ray overlooks it because he wants to be supportive of his brother. At the time, I wanted to say something about Pete's arrogance, since not only was I not impressed by his income, it's not a secret that Pete is noticeably uglier, inside and out, than his younger brother. I didn't because Ray preferred I let it be. Pete continues to do this for the next 12 years. I tried hinting that we're all doing well and this is an awkward topic, but Pete brushed it off with patronizing, saying like, "You'll get there." Fast forward to now, we're all married with children. 2 weeks ago, Pete with his wife and son dropped by for a visit since Pete was on a business trip. Within a couple hours, Pete starts bragging about his recent raise. He's finally broken X $100,000 per year, and his wife will be going for a promotion that will land her around Y $100,000 per year. Ray was just as supportive as he usually is. Then Pete goes, "You'll get there eventually." Our son, who was playing nearby with Pete's son, stopped and asked if that's a lot. Pete's son said, "Yeah, duh." And I said, "No." Pete then laughed and told me to not set too high of an expectation for my children. So, and this is where I might be the a-hole, I laughed and said, "If you must know, X $100,000 is what we paid in taxes last year." Pete and his wife went silent, and Ray tried to change the subject. Then Pete suggested that we should get a new accountant because that's way too much for Texas. I lost my patience and asked him how much he thought our job titles should pay in Texas, or if he was still under the impression that his little brother is an entry-level engineer. Admittedly, it was not my best moment, but I really disliked him for trying to put down my husband in front of my son. After they left, I got a text from Pete about how I owe him an apology for embarrassing him in front of his son. I told him I will not, but I'm happy to never speak of income again if he will stop bringing it up in front of my son. Ray agrees with me, but asks a favor to let Pete talk in the future as long as it's not in front of the kids. He says his brother has some self-esteem issues, and if it makes Pete feel better to pretend he's more successful than Ray, Ray's okay with it. I really don't see the need to keep babysitting an almost 40-year-old man's ego, and frankly, I don't want a man anywhere near my son. But as I don't have a sibling with a self-esteem issue, I don't know if I'm overreacting. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You are super patient. 12 years. I wouldn't have lasted one. To be honest, it was tempting to go off on him earlier, especially after his toast at our wedding that made my dad almost throw him out. But the only reason I didn't was because my husband made it funny later and we ended up laughing it off. Wait, Pete did this patronizing stunt at your wedding? You might need to tell your husband point blank that his relationship with his brother is incredibly unhealthy, and it's toxic that they are teaching their sons to continue this dynamic as cousins. It started as an okay toast but got condescending and ended with a "not bad for a bachelor's degree, right? Brother-in-law has a PhD." My dad got angry because 1, rude, and 2, he doesn't like PhDs. But people chilled after my husband made some jokes about his brother being convoluted/hard to understand, and ended with "not bad for a PhD, right?" That said, my son will be spending less time with brother-in-law's son until habits improves. It sounds like your husband may have normalized his role of being his brother's punching bag, and then smoothing it over in front of company so no one holds brother-in-law accountable. Obviously, I don't know these people, and so you'd be able to tell if this is accurate or off base. Your husband might need to be reminded that everyone gets insecure and jealous, but most people learn healthy ways of processing, not taking cheap shots during a wedding speech or raising your son to look down on his poor, as brother-in-law assumed you were, cousins. Not the a-hole at all. It sounds like brother-in-law is getting worse over time, and that's probably because no one shut down his behavior before. Better late than never. You shut that nonsense down. Don't apologize. And if he doesn't see the problems with his behavior, tell him not to worry. He'll get there eventually. I'm definitely borrowing your line if this doesn't come down. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving for uni without telling my parents? Anyway, I'm female 19 and literally just moved out of my family home. By just, I mean today, in the morning. I thought my decision was right, but one of my new flatmates thinks I'm in the wrong, so I need some impartial opinion. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings. I have 5 younger brothers, and I lived with them and my parents. My parents had me very young. They were both 16 at a time. And from the very young age, I was expected to babysit them, take care of them, and help with a lot of chores. My brothers never had to do any chores whatsoever. When I went to secondary school, I started questioning things. And when I started 6th form, my parents suggested I quit because I won't be going to university anyway since I have to help with my brothers, as my mother won't be able to do so alone. I did my A-levels anyway. I tried talking to my parents about university plans, but they kept telling me to drop it because I'm staying. I, however, was adamant that I want to go. I was to apply for financing as an independent student, without them taking my parents' income into consideration. It was very difficult, but I managed it, and I had all correspondence sent to my friend's address. Anyway, with all finance sorted, academic year is about to start, and my uni had moving in date today until the end of the week. In the morning, when my parents went out and my siblings went to school, I packed everything I needed, like clothes and basic necessities, left a letter I prepared, and left without them knowing, getting a train to my university town. I had to do it that way because they wouldn't let me go. I've had countless of phone calls from them since the morning. I've picked up once, and they shouted at me, demanding I come back or tell them where exactly I am. I didn't give them my address. I didn't pick up other phone calls, and I thought I was right about this. But when I told my flatmates, one of them called me an a-hole and that my parents are probably worried sick, and I should give them my address at the very least. Now I don't know. Am I the a-hole for leaving so suddenly? You're never the a-hole for escaping abuse. Your flatmate is young and maybe hasn't experienced the type of background you just came from. I wouldn't take their comments to heart. If you had told them in advance, they absolutely would have stopped you and messed up your education. If you give them your address, you can bet everything you have that they'll show up at your door to drag you back. I hope you thrive and have a wonderful time at uni. I'm not sure if anyone has told you this yet, but I'm proud of you. What you did wasn't easy and took a lot of strength and courage. You're absolutely not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, but I would stop telling your flatmates anything if that's how they respond. You can let them know that any way a person escapes a harmful situation is okay, and that your parents know you left and that you're safe, and that's all that matters. With that said, if possible, I'd get another phone, change your number, and get rid of your old phone. They can track it, especially if it's on their phone plan, in some situations, and I doubt they will easily let go of their free babysitter and free labor. They will harass you forever. Cut them off completely. And be careful who you tell about your home situation moving forward. Information is power. Sometimes when we're in unhealthy environments, we tend to talk to anyone who seems to have a sympathetic ear, but you need to make sure these people are trustworthy people first. If there's a free school counselor, I'd make an appointment with them instead. And never tell your family where you are. If you keep in contact with your siblings and they push for info, I'd have another university picked out with basic information that you can say enough about to have a convincing story. A university far from where you actually are. Not the a-hole. Please let your school know the situation and have them lock down your info. Also, call the police for both your town and the school to make them aware you are safe, an adult, and you are fleeing from a horrible environment. That you are concerned for your safety, possible retaliation, and being brought home and held against your will. If you do not do this, your parents will end up getting info and address from you and the police will be at your door. If you do not have your birth certificate on you, they may try physically detain you at the police station and let your parents know where you are. Once the school is made aware in both police stations, please tell your roommates that you are fleeing a horrible situation and that allowing your parents to know where you are is safety risk. It would also be helpful to call a few key relatives to let them know your side of the story and that you are safe. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my daughter after she pawned a family heirloom? I have 3 daughters, Lucy, female 21, Diane, female 17, and Rosa, female 15. Their father, my husband, unfortunately passed away in a work accident 11 years ago. We were all devastated, and it was a terrible shock. We were able to get by with my parents helping out with the kids so that I could work. We're doing much better now financially. However, I've been having a lot of problems with Lucy. Not long after she turned 18 and finished school, she's suddenly gone off the rails, is mingling with some very sketchy people, and I don't know what to do with her. She's gotten into heavy smoking cigarettes and weed, partying at every opportunity, getting drunk every day, and I suspect she's been doing hard stuffs. She started treating the house like a bread and breakfast and is very disrespectful to me and her sisters. I didn't raise her to act like this, and I'm at my wit's end. I've tried to get her into rehab and therapy, but she just refuses to go and gets very angry when I bring it up. Lucy stays with us rent-free. She works a job in retail and buys her own groceries but blows the rest of her income. The last straw for me was something that happened 3 weeks ago. Diane and Rosa have pieces of very expensive jewelry that they inherited from their dad's mother after she passed away last year. The jewelry had been in the family for generations. Whilst they were at school, their pieces of jewelry went missing from their rooms. Diane and Rosa were incredibly upset when they noticed the jewelry was missing. I asked Lucy if she knew what happened to the jewelry. Lucy lied and said she didn't know. I pressed the issue and pointed out that she went partying and spent loads of money, and Lucy eventually admitted that she stole the jewelry and pawned it. Even though it was kind of obvious that it was Lucy, I was still shocked that she would do something like that. I told Lucy that this is it, and that I'm kicking her out. I told her that she needs to be out in 3 days. I didn't think it was fair on Diane and Rosa to keep someone like Lucy around when she keeps causing chaos and destruction in our home, and I was also worried about Diane and Rosa being influenced by her. Lucy left the next day and went to go stay with my parents, who were saying I'm a horrible mother for kicking Lucy out and that I'm clearly playing favorites. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. If they are heirlooms gifted to your daughters, you need to report the jewelry as stolen. Local police get pawn sheets from local pawn stores and check them against stolen property reports. Your daughter will probably get arrested because pawn shops take the IDs of people pawning goods, but you may be able to retrieve the jewelry. I don't think Opie is an a-hole for kicking her daughter out of the house, but I do think she will be one if she doesn't try to get the jewelry back. Not the a-hole. I wholly agree with this. Do not lose those family heirlooms that belong to your other daughters because of Lucy's dishonest behavior. I think Lucy pawned the jewelry for drug money. Both are correct. I am recovering, and being an addict doesn't absolve us from our actions. What it does mean is that we were sick. People get sober and try to atone for their actions, but whether the victim accepts it is up to them. We can't change the past. We are responsible for our past. We can try our best to make amends, and the rest is out of our hands. It's complicated because it's not simple. Not the a-hole. Your daughter has some things to figure out. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, but ultimately you still have 2 other non-destructive children to prioritize and care for. She's 21, and while you'll always be her mom, she's an adult and responsible for who she wants to be, where she wants to go, and what she wants to do. Meanwhile, you have actual minors to worry about. Hopping onto this comment to point out that Opie needs to check the credit reports of the younger children and herself. You need to make sure no credit card/identity theft has taken place. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my half of the rent? I, 19 female, have been living with a close friend, 19 female, since last December. We co-signed a lease, so both our names are on paper for the place we're renting out, and we pay 50-50 for the rent. The lease was up a couple of months ago, but we were still making back-to-back monthly payments due to our agreement with our landlord. Everything was going good, up until a couple months ago when my roommate started acting differently. It started off with some small things, like when she'd have a bad day at work, she would get home and basically take it out on me, which fine, I can handle minor mood swings. I thought it would just be a temporary thing anyways. However, it gradually got worse. She was constantly mad at me and would look for anything to berate for, sometimes without even giving a reason why after. Not only that, but she kept acting like the place was solely hers. She would say things to mutual friends about how it was her place, therefore she had a final say in whatever happened to it, or who was welcome and who wasn't without even consulting me. I finally had enough, so I decided that it was time for me to move out. I gave our landlord my 1-month notice to be out by the end of September and told her about it the next day. She gave the landlord her 1-month notice about 2 weeks after I told her, but by then it was already September, so she informed him she would be gone by October. Even before I gave my notice to the landlord, I've been staying with a different friend, 20 male, so I haven't been there since almost a month ago now. The other day, she messaged me saying the rent was gonna be due for October and that I had to pay my half. But I told her, I'm afraid I can't do so as I gave my notice that I'd be gone by the end of September. She ended up getting mad and saying that this was not fair and that I'm totally screwing her over. I haven't even been living there for almost a month now, so I feel I shouldn't have to pay for a place that isn't mine anymore. But I do feel kind of bad about it. So am I the a-hole for refusing to pay my half of the rent? Not the a-hole. Your written lease had expired and you were operating under a month-to-month lease. You properly informed your landlord and co-tenant that you were not going to continue the lease and paid your portion of the final month of your lease. You did literally nothing wrong, legally or morally. Not the a-hole. You gave your 1 month notice on time and will be out in 1 month. She wanted the place to be solely hers, and that's what she got. Lol. Good luck, OP. Just from OP's other posts, the issues coincided with OP's boyfriend who was living there at a time picking up hard substances after running from his own addict parents. OP never posted a conclusion on if they kicked him out and how that all went down. I can definitely see why the roommates might have taken a stand on who's allowed through the door after that. We both mutually agreed to kick him out, and I ran everything by her before we let him move in. In no way did I ever treat it like it wasn't both our place. I viewed us as equals, so I never did anything without consulting her first. Whereas she let her addict brother stay with us for months on end without even running it by me. Oof, yeah, I feel you were not the a-hole in regards to leaving or the lease. Just wasn't sure if the prior post had caused a change in her behavior. Completely understandable. However, I don't know what triggered a change. I wish I did, and I wish it was something we could have sorted out. But it doesn't seem that way as I've tried talking to her about it, and she said I was just lashing out and being Am I the a-hole for emasculating my 32 female, fiancé 38 male, in front of his family? My fiancé and I have been together for about 6 years, engaged for 2. After we got engaged, we sat down and had the deal breakers talk. Basically, things in our lives, our futures, hypothetical situations that leave little room for compromise, like adopting children, finances, family boundaries, religion, etc. One of the things on my list was no prenup. I'm not here to debate with anyone about their use. I just think that if you're preparing for divorce before even getting married, it's a sign that you're probably marrying the wrong person. He agreed, and everything was fine. Lately, his family, particularly his mother, keeps on bringing up signing a prenup. I've told her no many times, said this is an issue between us and we will discuss it privately and make our own decisions as a couple. He also tells her no, although more weakly. Well, last night we went there for dinner and she brought out an actual prenup drafted by her lawyer. She put it in front of me after dinner and told me to sign it. Obviously, I didn't even read it, let alone sign it. She called me a gold digger. No one, including my fiancé, stood up for me, so I stood up for myself. I told her that there's no gold to dig here. I make 4 times as much as he makes. I'm an MD, and he dropped out 2nd year. I've paid all of my student debt. He has over $100,000 left. I have my own house, ample savings, and will certainly inherit more from my parents than he will from his. They have 6 kids and are middle class. What is she worried about? That shut her up real quick, especially when my sister-in-law then said, if anything, he's the gold digger here. My fiancé is now angry with me. He said it was emasculating for his family to know I'm so much more successful than him, and his brothers are making jokes and changed his contact info to gold digger. Personally, I don't think I was rude or out of line, but he thinks I was an a-hole and could have handled it better. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. If there's anything emasculating here, it's that your fiancé can't keep mommy out of his relationships even as he approaches 40. Edit, not the a-hole. Didn't figure this would end up where judgments might be relevant. Holy smoke! I had skipped right over the rages. Have mercy. Future mother-in-law didn't come out of nowhere with this. I'd wager that either one, the fiancé lied to his mother and said he was the breadwinner, or B, his mother assumed he was the higher earner and he went along with it. That's why I didn't defend Opie. Not the a-hole. He didn't stand up for you, so you did for yourself. That's on him. But I'd seriously reconsider a relationship with a partner who thinks it's emasculating to make less money. I would do a prenup for my own sake if I were Opie in case the relationship ends. Not the a-hole. He didn't find the gold digger title offensive or insulting when it was directed at you, but it's a problem if he's called one? If I can ask, why do you want to be part of this crap show? Your future mother-in-law doesn't even pretend to respect you or your boundaries. She doesn't like you because she sees you as being beneath the family and trying to marry up. Your fiancé does nothing to intervene when his family is inappropriate and rude. His masculinity and how it's perceived are more important to him than how you feel when disrespected by his family. His idea of love is damaging. After you marry, the only thing that might change is your last name. The rest of this will not. From the little I can gather here, you bring too many great things to the table just to sit down with him and starve. To be honest, I am second-guessing things. His family's Middle Eastern and traditional, but he was raised here, so he doesn't share the same values. As he gets older, he seems to be getting weaker when standing up to his parents. His parents see me as below him because I am white and not a good girl. That is, won't cook, / clean more than my fair share. I'm career-minded, want to adopt, don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. I'm not religious. This generally doesn't affect me because he usually stands up for me and our time is limited with them. But I do feel it's getting worse. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend's friend out and making him homeless because he wouldn't take off his shoes? I, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, decided to let his friend, 24 male, stay here a while because he was homeless living in a tent when we picked him up. The agreement was a few days, but it's turned into a month now. We have a one-bedroom house and I have a 3-year-old stepson. It's already cramped. Things were okay, except for the fact that I am a big clean freak. I just like my house clean. I deep clean every weekend. My dishes are done and kitchen cleaned and wiped down after every meal. My biggest thing is the floors being clean, because I hate walking around with no socks or shoes and things getting stuck on my feet. I grew up with addicts and the house was disgusting. My house being messy gives me anxiety because of this. I'm in therapy. He got a job mowing. Great. He's on a track to get out of here. It's a rule in our house that if you aren't a guest, you take your shoes off at the door. Our 3-year-old takes them off when he walks inside. Close family visiting take them off when they come inside. I've taught my 8-month puppy to wipe her feet off on the mat outside. He never takes his shoes off. I ask him nicely the first 3 weeks. Since he mows, his shoes are caked in grass. He never cleans up after himself, whether it's the floor or his dishes or his own dirty clothes. When I mentioned it, he doesn't even get the broom and clean it up. I've swept the entire house every day since I started staying here. Yesterday, he walked inside, stomped all around hardwood floors. The whole house is hardwood and tile. When I came out of my room and saw this, I raised my voice and said, "Walk outside, take your freaking shoes off, pick them up, bring them inside and put them on the mat." It is not that hard. My 3-year-old and my dog can do it. Why can't you? He said, "You're going to have to remind me every day because I forget. It's grass. You don't have to be a witch." I then told him to get his stuff and get out. It's disrespectful, a slob, and I don't need to remind a grown man to take his shoes off every day. I don't have to remind a 3-year-old or my 8-month dog. He got pissed off and yelled stuff, so I threw all his stuff outside. My boyfriend got home and I told him he called me a witch, and I went outside and they were yelling. I just feel bad because now he's homeless. My boyfriend understands and doesn't want him here if he's going to disrespect me while living here and eating our food for free. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's not his house, and you guys are literally housing and feeding him for free. He can take his damn shoes off. That's what I was thinking. I've lived with a friend for free before and anything they asked me to do was respected. Especially something so simple. I even gave them money where I could. And they had some weird house rules, lol. I didn't stay there for very long, but when I was there, I was extremely grateful and did whatever asked within reason. He's homeless because he chose to be. Definitely not the a-hole. I was in his shoes last year when my school left me homeless due to COVID, and I had to sleep on a friend's couch in their 1-bedroom apartment until I could afford to fly to live with my family. The situation sucked for everyone. So I at least made it easier on my friends by cleaning their house for them every day between classes and while they were at work. It really helped them because they had been depression nesting for months beforehand, and it helped me keep a roof over my head until I was a bit more stable. The kindness you extend to him needs to be reciprocated, and him calling you a witch for his ahatery shows how little he respects your homemade rules. Not an a-hole. It's not that hard a rule to follow. Keeping clean when you have a 3-year-old and a puppy is also important. It sounds like he has issues to work through, but you're not his therapist. Oh, he definitely has issues, which is another reason I feel bad. Before he was homeless, he got his then girlfriend pregnant, now ex, and the baby was stillborn, which still affects him. 100% understandable. It'll affect him for the rest of his life. Shortly after the baby was born, he dabbled with hard substances but got clean. I don't know. I feel bad that he went through all that, and now he's homeless because he wouldn't take his shoes off. I'm considering letting him come back if he will just take his shoes off and clean after himself, but I don't want to be called names or disrespected again, and I definitely don't want to sweep again for the next 3 to 5 days. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for firmly telling my husband that I'll continue to let the kids see their grandmother whether he likes it or not? My husband and I have been married for 8. We have 2 kids, 6 and 3. He was adopted. His bio mom reached out recently. He was very open for a relationship with her and kept seeing her alone for months till he started taking me and the kids to visit. His bio mom was mean to me while nice to the kids. I was never welcomed by her. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, adoptive mother, is the most generous, sympathetic woman I've met. She and my husband are no longer in good terms, and he stopped visiting her months ago. He'd take the kids to see his bio mom often and at odd times, like during school hours or late nights when kids should be sleeping. Whenever I point that out to him, he'd say the kids needed to bond with their bio grandma. He'd get upset whenever I take the kids to see their grandmother and would start arguing. He doesn't talk to his adoptive mom because his bio mom influenced him. She's nasty, and he's been acting irrationally ever since she came into the picture. Yesterday, I was getting the kids ready to go to celebrate their grandmother's birthday. My husband didn't want to go. He asked where we were going. I told him, and he started arguing about how he's in no contact with her, therefore the kids shouldn't go to see his adoptive mom. I told him me and the kids have the right to see her since she loves us, and they absolutely love her. So robbing the kids of a relationship with her suddenly was not acceptable. He said they have grandma, his bio, and I should respect/encourage them to have a relationship with her too. I said I'm not stopping the kids, but he was the one stopping the kids from seeing the grandmother, quite frankly, been there their entire lives. Called me a hypocrite for complaining while doing the same thing. I'm not. It's different to not get along with someone than demand and dictate if others should talk to or see them. I lost control, and I just blew up, saying I will be continuing to let the kids have a relationship with their grandma whether he likes it or not. We ended up going to the birthday. Mother-in-law is devastated to say the least. Her son didn't come and hadn't been visiting. We got home and we were silent all evening. He fed the kids, did the dishes, then stopped by the bedroom door to tell me he was going to see his mom for an hour and ask if I needed anything. I asked him what would it possibly need at 11 p.m. He started laughing, then gave me a look, then walked out. Still thinks I was wrong for how I blew up. Now for the top comments. What on earth is going on there? It's all very weird. His behavior screams affair. But it's his mom he's seeing, so I would tell him point blank his behavior is strange and out of character, and it looks like a red flag to you. I have a feeling we're missing a lot of this story. I have a feeling that Opie is missing a lot of this story. Info: why is he no longer in contact with his adoptive mom? That's the important part, really. If it's trivial reasons, then you're completely in the right. But if he has genuinely big reasons, then it's a bit murkier. He claims that she doesn't want him to see and visit his bio mom, which is not true because I've seen how he's been lashing out only because his adoptive asks why he doesn't visit anymore. Is there a chance he is abusing substances with his bio mother? The strange hours could indicate coke or meth. Why was he leaving to see his bio mom at 11 p.m.? That's sketchy. But no, not the a-hole. He essentially dumped the mother that raised him for his bio mom, and now he expects his family to do the same. She has been a wonderful grandma and mother-in-law for many years, so there was no reason to stop having a relationship with her. He can work on and encourage the kids to have a relationship with his bio mom, but that's on him. Honestly, pay attention, because I assume he will start saying mean things about mother-in-law, like she's not your real grandma, so the kids will find favor in bio. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not cleaning up after my shower to prove a point? Hi. We recently moved to our new house. All good except for this issue. Whenever my husband takes a shower, he leaves the bathroom wet. And I mean slippery wet. I talked to him about it. Did a PowerPoint presentation about it with the help of my son's photography skills. Reminded him about it. No avail. Still nothing's changed. Our youngest son would run to the bathroom barefoot. Yes, and might slip since the floor is wet, soapy. He didn't see how wet it was because I end up cleaning. Not for him but for the kids, so the kids could use it safely. Last week, before he used the bathroom, I went in and took a shower. Then I got my stuff and got out. He was in a hurry. He immediately walked in with his shaving tools, saying he had an important meeting with his buddies at the restaurant and wanted to get there first. He suddenly stopped talking and started yelling, "What is this? What the hell is this? Why is the floor wet?" He looked disgusted, saying I should have cleaned up before getting out the shower. I stood at the door with my eyes rolling so hard I was brain dead for 6 seconds. The hypocrisy. He was barefoot and looked quite disgusted, saying he couldn't spend another minute with his feet on soapy, wet floor. He immediately ran out and went on to lecture me about how unacceptable that was. I told him that's what I deal with whenever he takes a shower. He tried to argue back, saying it was just me using excessive amounts of water, but I told him it's the same outcome. He threw a fit about needing the bathroom floor clean so he could shave and then go to the restaurant ASAP. I handed him the mop and told him it won't take long to mop the floor clean, then I went to get my clothes. He was upset but cleaned up, got dressed, and left. He texted saying he was the last to show up. They had a bet that the last one to show up at the restaurant pays for half their meals, and told me the mopping I made him do because of my shower cost him X amount of money. And to add insult to injury, his buddies were laughing at the reason why he was late, and were basically mopping the floor with his integrity. I was too busy with the kids to respond. Plus, I thought he needed time to calm down. But still, he got home and kept bringing it up, making me feel bad. Not Dayhall. You aren't a maid. The fact that he expects you to mop up after everybody, but throws a toddler temper tantrum when he's given a taste of his own medicine, is insane. It's strange how many husbands just expect their wives to be maids/clean up everything. It's why I don't have one. I didn't get a master's degree to be someone's maid. Info. Is there something wrong with the shower? The water should be contained to the actual shower area, not to fill the bathroom with soapy water. It's possible this is not a typical Western style. Some countries have the whole bathroom tiled and don't have a separate shower, but rather the whole thing is the shower. That's what went through my mind. If not, there's a bigger problem. Am I the a-hole for spending money I saved for a trip with my dad when he wanted to include his stepdaughter? Back in February, I, 17 female, asked my dad if we could take a weekend trip for Halloween to this haunted house event the two of us have talked about going to before. He said he wasn't sure he could afford it, but if I saved enough money we could go. He was going to cover some of it too. I actually saved up the money by early September and told him as much. Then he brought up the subject about how cool it would be to include his stepdaughter, 14, and it would be a nice bonding trip for all three of us. He asked me how I felt about that, and I told him I didn't want to include her because I wanted it to be just the two of us. He asked why, and I told him we never do stuff just the two of us anymore. I don't want that time with him. He said he gets plenty of time with his wife, but I said she's not him. That I wanted more time for him and me, not everyone together. Not me and his wife or me and his stepdaughter. He told me, okay, it could be just us. Then his wife blabbed because he didn't tell her I had said no. Then his stepdaughter wanted to go, and he told me he couldn't say no to her after that. So I told him to forget it, and bought myself some stuff for the money I had saved. This upset my dad and his wife and his stepdaughter. My dad and his wife told me I responded like a child instead of an almost adult. His stepdaughter said I was so mean. Why would I do that? She was looking forward to spending the weekend with us at the haunted house. I told my dad I saved it for the two of us to go alone, but he has made it clear he doesn't want that time with just me anymore. And since that's how he feels, I am sick and tired of time with his family. That he shouldn't worry because I will be gone soon, and he can spend all the time he wants to with them, and the childish and mean one won't be living here in a few months. He asked why I couldn't just wait and do something else with him. Why spend the money? Why break the plans like that? It's not the first time I have tried to do something with him, and he automatically involved everyone or just his stepdaughter in it. And I even told him I missed hanging out just him and me. It doesn't do anything. I know his wife is upset because her daughter is hurt, because she knows how badly he didn't want her there, and she's also not going now. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You shouldn't be covering any of the cost of this trip at all, and your dad and his wife are being a-holes for downplaying your need for one-on-one time with your father. The money's yours and you're entitled to spend it on what you want. You aren't obligated to participate in a trip with your stepsister, let alone pay for it from your pocket. It's good that you stood your ground and didn't let them guilt-trip you or force you. Going to the trip with a 14-year-old can also restrict the scary activities which you'll be able to participate in. You have to take that into account. I'm not quite sure that this place suits a kid, although it depends on her character and endurance. I hope that you're pleased with what you bought. At least it stays. The experience of the haunted house is over. Not the a-hole. Kids in all families are allowed to want one-on-one time with their parents. It is good and healthy and important. And it's even more important in blended families. I'm sorry your dad reacted this way. You were always upfront in your communication. You showed maturity here. Your father is not. I'm sorry your plans were ruined. Yep, I hope he communicated clearly and from the start, and even saved up for it. She's not childish for letting herself get run over by her dad and his wife, and drawing a clear boundary and paying for the honor. Now next time she makes plans she's paying for, they'll know she's not bluffing. Doesn't sound like there will be a next time. I hope he sounds tired of trying. Tired, heartbroken, rejected, alone. All words I could use to describe how I feel. Also mad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex and his girlfriend have family time with my son? Every year I take my son to visit his great-grandparents. Usually his dad, / my ex, will be there too during the trip. And they'll spend a lot of alone time together since my ex doesn't see our son as often as I do. The only difference this year is that this time he brought his girlfriend with him. The trip has been a disaster. The first week we were here, my ex wanted to take my son out sailing, and his girlfriend went with them. They came back early and my son was crying so hard he threw up. When I asked my ex what happened, he told me he didn't know and that our son kept asking for me, but he told him they would see me when they got home, and he just started crying and wouldn't stop. Since my son has refused to go out anywhere with his dad unless I go too. He won't even stay in the same room as anyone else unless I'm there. I've tried talking to him, but it hasn't helped me understand his behavior. Yesterday, his girlfriend pulled me aside and told me I needed to give them space to have some family time, and that she really wanted my son to like her because my ex made it clear if he doesn't, their relationship wouldn't last. I told her I wouldn't force my son to go alone with them. She said she understood I was overprotective, but that I needed to let his dad have time with him without me hovering. She kept asking me and I finally got annoyed and told her to tell my ex to talk to me if he had a problem. She basically told me that he was my ex's son too, and that she knew it must be hard for me to see him move on. Lol, but that I was being selfish and acting jealous. She's been giving me dirty looks ever since. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Something really messed up happened for your son to react the way he did. If I were you, I'd get some counseling for him if he keeps refusing to tell you what happened. As far as the girlfriend is concerned, she needs to shut up and stop forcing your child to like her. That's not how it works, and it's her problem to deal with if your ex breaks up with her. Completely agree. Something happened. My mama gut can feel it through Reddit. I don't even have kids, and I can still tell there's a strong problem with ex's girlfriend, not just a kid being whiny. Either they told him they were going to be a family / girlfriend as his new mom, and the idea of such a big change distressed a poor kid, or he was yelled at or physically punished for something, and probably told not to tell. Nothing happened, he just cried until he puked for no reason. Doesn't make sense. Not today home, but you would be if you don't get to the root of what happened to your son that day. Crying enough to throw up? There was some abuse. Do not rug sweep. Do not talk to the girlfriend. Talk to a lawyer, or at the very least a child psychologist. Something happened. Something bad, and your son either feels responsible for what happened, or is in fear of saying anything because someone threatened either him or you. Your kid gets upset enough to barf. That is kind of a visual that something happened on a sailboat that has him not wanting to be alone with his dad or anyone else. I am thinking that new girlfriend was pushing pretty hard to get the kiddo to like her and become his new mom, and he took that badly. I could be terribly wrong about that, and you will probably never find out exactly what happened, but kid got scared, now has separation anxiety. Girlfriend is only acting in her own self-interest and could care less about your kid, except she has to get the kid to like her or she is out. I don't know what the deal is with the ex. He sounds like he might actually be good for your son, but he is acting all kind of crazy about this. The best thing is to give your son plenty of leeway to understand that nobody's taking him away from you. Nobody's taking your place, and he is in a safe spot when he is around other relatives and friends. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for excluding my nephew from my son's birthday party? My brother, his wife, and 5-year-old son, nephew, been living at my parents' house since 2019 because of financial issues. My nephew is spoiled. He misbehaves and gets away with everything. Throws epic temper tantrums if things don't go his way. I have 8-year-old son, and every year when his birthday party's over and everyone gets ready to go home, my nephew would collect the gifts my son received and throw a tantrum till we'll let him go home with them. My sister-in-law would spend an hour complaining about their financial situation and try to convince me to let my nephew keep all the gifts because he saw them. I tried to hide them in another room, but my nephew got access. I suggested making a list of the toys my son received, so my brother and sister-in-law would buy similar stuff for my nephew, but they'd end up leaving with them. My son would feel devastated and sad afterwards. Not just that, but in a matter of a week, we'd visit my parents' house and see most of the toys destroyed. This year, as my son's 9th birthday rolled around, my husband straightforward said, "Listen, I don't want what happened in the past couple of years to happen again. It's time to put an end to your brother and his wife's enablement. Your nephew shouldn't be invited if you don't want issues at a party. I'm just letting you know that if they bring him anyway, I'm taking the party over to my parents' house 3 hours away." So I called my brother and let him know that he either leaves his son at home and attend my son's birthday with his wife, or not attend if he didn't want to. He hung up, then called again in a few minutes and was livid, asking if I was serious about what I said about excluding his son from his cousin's birthday. And I said a reason for that is because of my nephew's misbehavior. He laughed, saying, "What's misbehavior? He is a kid, for Christ's sake. Go ahead and name one kid who doesn't misbehave." I said that what his son does, which is taking my son's birthday gifts, then crying and yelling his way into leaving with them, was not fair, because those gifts were given to him, and he shouldn't be guilted into giving them away on his birthday. My brother started talking about a struggle to buy his kid new toys, and said to him that I should encourage the kids to share. I said no, because everyone deserves to receive gifts and not be expected to share or give them away. I said he and his wife are welcome to attend, but my nephew isn't. He first begged and promised he won't let his son touch anything, but then got angry and said he was appalled, completely appalled by my coldness and cruelty to exclude my nephew like that. He said his son understands what's going on, and once it tells him his aunt excluded him from his cousin's birthday party, I shouldn't act surprised, because neither he or his son will forget how I treated them, then hung up. Mom roasted me about my decision, saying I'm causing emotional damage over a few gifts. She and Dad wanted me to apologize and invite my brother's family. "I'm sorry. You've allowed them to just take your son's presents in the past? What? How can you let your son down so badly? You should have stopped them, threatened to call the police, and followed through if they still took them. Also, you shouldn't have invited your brother and wife to come without their son. I fully understand not inviting the son, but at that point, you just disinvite them all. Did you really think they were gonna leave their kid with a sitter while going to a kid's party he wasn't invited to? Your brother and his wife suck. I feel deeply sorry for their son because they are doing him a great disservice. They shouldn't be stealing from you. Your parents suck for enabling their behavior and expecting you to suck it up. You suck because in past years you did just suck it up, and you and your husband allowed your son to suffer. Everyone sucks here. This. Your son is not the a-hole, but everyone else is. Everyone sucks here. I can't believe all these adults ever allowed this to happen once, let alone for years. Your poor son. Birthday ruined year after year, and all the adults just let it happen. This. I can't imagine someone acting entitled to my child's birthday gifts, and me just giving in instead of being a grown-up and saying no. And for this to happen for years before the parents ended it, absolutely everyone sucks here besides the birthday kid. You're the a-hole for ever allowing this to happen to your son on his birthday. Right? Or at least everyone sucks here. I could never imagine allowing someone to take my kid's birthday presents away from them on their birthday just because a 3 or 4-year-old was having a temper tantrum. Kids that age have temper tantrums all the time. They don't know better. The idea that the only two possible options are either the nephew is allowed to take the birthday presents home, or the nephew doesn't come to the party at all is so bizarre to me. Last story. Am I the a-hole for fighting my ex and changing our custody agreement? I, 28 male, have been a single dad to 2 kids, 6 male and 4 female, for the last 2 years. My ex-girlfriend, Kate, 27 female, is the mother of my children but has not been present in their lives for the last 2 years. She spent the last 2 years in either jail or rehab due to her addiction, heroin. When Kate and I started dating, I knew she used, but I was young and dumb and in love and didn't use my best judgment. She got pregnant young, and to her credit, she stopped using completely and was a doting, loving mother. After she got pregnant with our second, we got engaged and were planning a wedding for a year after the birth. But after the birth of our daughter, everything changed. For the first 6 months or so, things were good and we were a happy family. But then Kate started going out with old friends, telling me she felt like she was losing who she was, and needed to realize that she was also an independent person and not just a mother. I agreed that she needed to socialize and have a life outside of our family, but I was wary about the people she was hanging around with. It expressed my concern to her. She assured me that she had put that part of her life behind her, and she just wanted to be around friends again. Well, Kate started using again and got herself put in jail. She got out and went to rehab, but relapsed shortly after and went to jail again, this time for 12 months. During that time, I broke off our engagement and petitioned the court for full custody of our kids, and it was granted. We moved a couple towns away to get a fresh start, and my kids are now thriving in their new schools, and I have a better paying job. Now, Kate is out of jail and is living in a halfway house. She's working and getting an apartment, and has told me she wants to be part of her kids' lives again, and mentioned she wants partial custody. She said she was hoping to avoid too much drama in the courts and asked for my support on it. I told her I would fight her tooth and nail to keep full custody, until she can prove to me that she isn't going to mess up again. I told her I will allow her to see her kids under my supervision and on my terms, until the court tells me otherwise. She gave me a sob story about how much she's changed, and that she would never jeopardize her relationship with her kids again. But I told her all that talk doesn't mean a thing to me, because I have zero trust in her. She called me an a-hole for depriving her of a relationship with her kids, and I told her she did that to herself. She said I can't permanently blame her for the mistakes she's made in the past, and I told her that she has a long road to gain back enough of my trust for me to even consider supporting partial custody, and that until the court tells me otherwise, I am fighting for full custody. I'm getting a lot of grief from her family and even my family about it. They all think I should give her a chance, since she's their mother, as if that somehow erases the fact that she's been gone for 2 years. You need a lawyer, not Reddit. I have one, and have been working with them to be as prepared as I can be. I just keep hearing so many versions of, but she's their mother from both her family and even mine. Her family I can kind of understand, but hearing it from a mom and aunts is what is making me question myself. Like, to them it's so easy to overlook all the BS just because she gave birth to the kids. She may be their mother, but relapsing twice clearly shows that she loves drugs more. If she wants partial custody, then she can and should prove it. Because as their father, I'm not putting the children at risk over a third relapse. Absolutely do not relent. She's an addict, and I would need to see years of being clean before I'd ever consider partial custody. She even recognized that this isn't about her. It's about the well-being of the kids. Maybe that will finally motivate her to get clean. I'm getting a lot of grief from her family and even my family about it. They all think I should give her a chance since she's their mother. And I am their father, the one who has been there every day of their lives. This decision is in the best interest of my children. Not the a-hole. Addicts are masters of manipulation, and there's no way to know if she's truly doing better without the intervention of the court.